Oh, it's terrible. I wanted the image to be better, but I think it's just my bandwidth. Never mind. I've increased the lighting, so all good. Early social interaction. To realise others have intentions, infants obviously need regular interaction with others, and an important social setting in which these exchanges take place is the dyad, which, with two people in it, is by definition the smallest possible group. In the previous chapter, we saw how proto-conversations, i.e. back and forth exchanges of emotional smiles, mirroring of behavior, touches and vocalizations, and attachment, i.e. a special emotional bond, emerge from this early social context. A new level of perspective taking is achieved when infants learn how to share perceptions and intentions with another person. To do this, both carers and infants must understand each other's role in achieving a common goal, and be able to dovetail their actions to achieve this. For example, completing a jigsaw together, building a block tower together, or holding in a conversation. This shared intentionality is kept on track by monitoring the goal-directed behavior and perceptions of the partner, with cues such as eye contact, gaze following, and tone of voice, helping infants establish when information is tended for them and when it is not. Grossman et al., 2006. When children are young, shared intentionally is often played out in high contextualized, often routinized, mutually understood social situations, such as feeding and changing times, reading books, talking, taking a walk, or playing a game of peekaboo. With both partners now sharing attention and coordination, their actions to a shared goal, infants have moved from a simple dyadic to a triadic interaction, figure 3.2. These early social interactions can act as training ground for learning about the mental lives of others. For example, the more parents talk to their children about the mental states of others, she wants, he wants, they know, the more proficient children become at Tom. And parents who are more competent in identifying and responding appropriately to these thoughts and feelings of their children, mind-minded or sensitive parents in attachment theory, have children with higher Tom proficiency. Aldrich et al., 2021. Means. Figure 3.2. A. Dyadic interaction characterized by back and forth, face-to-face, turn-taking episodes between the caregiver and the input, expressing a sense of shared experience. B. Triadic interaction characterized by the shared attention of both participants on an object or referent of mutual interest in a referential triangle. Source: Greytown. I. Getty et al., 2002. It has been shown that having a brother or sister increases the opportunities to practice the skills of Tom. Our siblings try to emphasize with, manipulate, compete with, and cooperate with one another, so they don't have to have a brother or sister to acquire Tom, but it can help accelerate its development. Devine and Hughes, 2018. It seems like these basic early social interactions are present in all cultures, but the specific structure and frequency of these interactions may be quite different. For example, Andrea Taverner and her colleagues compared how mothers interacted with their 1 to 2 year olds in the indigenous Wichi community living in Argentina's Chaco forest, and in Euro descendant Spanish speaking families living in Argentina, Taverna et al. 2024. Their study showed the similarity between communities in the proportion of time infants spent alone or in mother-child interactions. What did differ, however, was how mothers engaged in these interactions. Witchy mothers spend a great proportion of their time observing their infants than do Euro descendant mothers. Moreover, when infants in both groups are alone, their focus in their solitary activities defined. Witchy infants engage primarily in observation when alone, whereas Euro-dependent infants were more focused on objects. All mother-child pairs engage in dyadic and triadic interactions, but among witchy mothers actively watched infants as they engaged with objects, whereas Euro-descendant mothers actively engaged with the infants in joint attentional episodes. Compared to some Western societies, many parents in traditional cultures have very little free time to engage in non-productive play and triadic interactions, and so it is the children who are expected to adapt to the adult world of work, and not the adults who are expected to adapt to the child's world of play. In societies where mothers carry their infants most of the day, as they go about their work, face-to-face interaction with parents is less common and is limited to context of feeding and cleaning, or else adults will simply give the infants an object or a place, an object in front of the infant, and then go about their business. Though a combination of varying opportunities and motivations for dyadic and triadic interactions, these episodes can look different across cultures. Nevertheless, even young children will naturally experience some spells of joint attention with adults as a result of common kinds of experiences, such as offering food, warning about dangerous objects, social games, pointing and naming, and mutual play with objects. Callaghan et al. 2011. We will return to the idea of cross-cultural variability when we look at children's TOM development across the world in Chapter 6. Key point. Dyadic and triadic social interactions are important contexts in which children learn about the minds of others. I think that is looking a bit better, actually. We have seen that around 9 months of age, infants typically experience something of a social revolution. They understand that other people can see different things or can pursue different goals from them. At around 4 years of age, they are set from another transformation in their understanding. They develop a much more advanced form of TOM that allows them to hold mutually incompatible beliefs and to understand their beliefs can be false. The difference between basic and more advanced TOM abilities is demonstrated by the shift from level 1 perspective taking to level 2 perspective taking, figure 3.3. In level 1 perspective taking, the child, left-hand side of the table, knows that the adult can only see the circle as the triangle is hidden from them by the screen. In level 2 perspective taking, the child understands that other people can see the same scene differently. In this case, as in number 6, for the child, or a number 9. From the adult's perspective, adopted from Rakaki 2022. Source adapted from Rakaki H. Foundations of Theory of Mind and Its Development in Early Childhood. Beliefs are the test for advanced Tom because they require children to coordinate someone's attitude to the fact and the facts themselves. This is complex enough when the facts of the reality align. But as we all know, beliefs can be wrong. In these cases, not only do children need to track what they know, they also need to contribute this with the fact that someone else is wrong about what they know or has so-called false belief. Before you read further, see how the Tom performs on now classic Sally-Ann test, figure 3.4. The Sally-Ann test. Children who have been able to track what Sally knows and answers as they were Sally will understand that she falsely believes the marble will be in her basket. Children who are unable to disassociate themselves from what they know to be true are more likely to respond as if Sally also believes what they know. The crucial question is, where will Sally look for her marble? Children under the age of 4 systematically answer in the box, but around 4 years of age begin to be able to put themselves in Sally's position, emphasize with what she knows and doesn't know, and answer in the basket. For those who reasonably point out Sally doesn't think anything, she's a doll, there is the Smarties test, which assesses the same mind-reading logic, but with non-thinking props. You know that the Smarties in a Smarties tube have been replaced with pencils. What will someone else who hasn't seen the Smarties being replaced think is in the tube? As well as understanding false beliefs around this time, children also start to achieve level 2 perspective taking, figure 3.3. And in past appearance, reality tasks, Gopnik and Astington, 1988. In these tasks, children are presented with an object that looks different from what it really is, such as a rubber eraser that looks like a walnut. When asked what does the object look like and what is it really, children younger than 4 of age tend to answer according to what the object is for, saying it's a rubber eraser and it looks like a rubber eraser. But from around 4 years of age onwards, children can acknowledge that appearances aren't the same thing as reality, saying it's a rubber eraser but it looks like a walnut. This ability to hold two conflicting views of the world in mind at the same time is a hallmark of more advanced perspective taking than Tom. This is both a walnut and a rubber eraser. This is both a number 6 and a number 9. I disagree. It's still a rubber, even if it looks like a walnut. The marble is in the box for me, but in the basket for Sally. In chapter 16, we explore how some autistic children have different perspective taking skills from those demonstrated by non-autistic children in the Sally-Ann test. Key point: by around 4 years of age, infants develop a more advanced Tom ability, being able to hold mutually incompatible ideas about other people's beliefs, their own knowledge and reality.